Three, two, one, and we're live. Three, two, one. Are we live? One, two, three. Are we live? Are we live? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulites. This is Angela with another edition of Notes on the News on Channel B. Fabulous You. Notes on the News is my segment where I share with you headlines from my news feed, specially curated by me. And I might share with you some thoughts and perspective and just questions that I have about the headlines, about the stories, about the subject matter. I may have read the stories, I may have skimmed the stories, but it's not news. It's not news. It's just my notes on the news. Dang, I was trying to multitask. I thought I was going to get here early, and I'm not early. Okay. Habaragani. I think that means what's the word for today? What's the news for today? We have part of the segment as we start off with a Kwanzaa principle. We just loop through them every day. We do a new one. Yesterday was Imani, which is faith. Let's see what the principle is for today. Let us see. Do you know Habaragani? So when I say Habaragani, you say what the principle is. I think it might be unity. Umoja? I don't know. I think it might be unity, but hold on one second. Habaragani. If you know, type it in. Yesterday was Imani, so we're looping back around to one. Kwanzaa principles. Hey, welcome on the chat. Umoja, unity. To strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Umoja, unity. To strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Thank you for the like. How are you striving for unity in your family? How are you striving for unity in yourself? Hey, Rottweiler, Ashe. How are you striving for unity in yourself? How are you trying to integrate your values with how you're living? How are you trying to integrate what you say you believe with what your actions show? Does the way you spend money reflect your values? Does the way you spend time reflect your values? Are they one and the same, or are they just totally different things? Let us unify these things. Who we spend time with, are those a reflection of our values? Let's continue to fine tune and refine and reunify them things. Family unity. Are you striving for unity in your family? I'm not saying it's always perfect. I'm just saying, are you striving for it in your community? So that's the principle for today. To strive for and maintain. And once you have unity, are you fighting to maintain it? When you get a bond, when you get connections, when you get relationships, are you valuing them and just really striving to maintain them? And are you putting the work in to maintain something? It's like your shoes. If you don't shine them, you're not maintaining them. I don't know about shining shoes, but you know, we got to maintain the things that we value. Okay. To strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Great principles. Okay. I think so. Every year during Kwanzaa time, African people, it's Kwanzaa time. How do they do that? Usually everybody's out socializing and then they start drumming and singing, African people, it's Kwanzaa time, Kwanzaa time, Kwanzaa time. African people, it's Kwanzaa time. Woo, woo. Rottweiler, you just subscribed? Hey, Unsunken One. I thought you were already a subscriber. Welcome. Fabulite, the light of the world. Light up the world. Light it up. Burn. Let's see what the Buddha is talking about today. Now, look, the Buddha used to come through my email at around midnight, between midnight and 1 a.m. in the morning. And now it's coming at 10:12 with a different account. Oh, I appreciate it. That's what I need to do. I need to open up 400 accounts. No, I ain't got time for that. But I am curious about when people have different accounts. Like sometimes you'll hear about people's accounts, we'll go to this account because this is going on with that account. And I'm like, do they do it under their name? Do they do it under a different name? Like, how does it work? I don't understand. I can't stay. I'm working. Just want to say hello, family. Oh, thank you so much. Have fun at work. Be blessed and be a blessing. I got my camera over here, and I'm used to looking over here. So I'm like, if I look a little discombobulated, it's that. Some recluses and Brahmins, so called, are deeply attached to their own views. People who only see one side of things engage in quarrels and disputes. Some recluses and Brahmins, so called, are deeply attached to their own views. People who see only one side of things engage in quarrels and disputes. Now, I think that that's like some very, I think that that's interesting, coming in through to show some love and hoping you enjoy the day that's in front of you. Thank you, sister. I think that that's really important for us to think about, especially when we're talking about building unity with ourselves, with our family, with our community, with our nation, with our race. The ways in which we're able to connect and try to understand one another and understand where we're coming from, the ways in which we're compassionate with each other, the ways in which we're compassionate with ourselves in order to, you know, like, I think that this, like, you're wrong, you're this, like this name calling and this pushing away, it's like the opposite of unifying. I think we have to, we get the opportunity to try to understand some different perspectives. And I guess I always, or I don't know if I always, but here recently I've been thinking, well, shoot, if you think just like me, then you me. Why am I interacting with you? I already got me. The stimulation is important and the challenge is important, and having different perspectives is important. So, no quarrel, no dispute. It's all love. It's all love. Okay, I didn't get finished going through all of the new things on the news feed. So I started, so I have to pick up there, and then I'm going to loop back to what I already got. So that's those are just to help us frame up what we're talking about in the news. Of course, we're not doing an in-depth analysis. Hey, Kendrick, we're not doing an in-depth analysis of the news. We're getting a survey of the news so that we can understand trends and vibrations. Yes, yes. Habaragani, Umoja, unity today, and also just the maturity to appreciate different perspectives. Be right back. All right. Oh, I mean, all right. Can y'all hear that dog? It's a siren going down the street and the dog standing up howling at it. Oh, I had clicked on this article because it said Gaza, the history behind the anger. And I was just curious how the BBC was going to analyze it. BBC's Paul Adams, I don't know who that is, explains the issues at the root of the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians. But it's a video. What's going on here? This is notes on the news. So this is, I'm bringing it to the wrong. This is an image. You see that? So that shot is it's a powerful shot. That single person with the smoke, it's like burn, let it burn. It's lit up. It's lit up. I don't know what he's holding in his hand. But anyway, it was a video. I ain't got time to be watching no videos, but I am curious. I think I kind of want like the Reader's Digest version, and I don't know if my version. Yes, it's a mess over there. I don't know if my version is, the Jewish people came into somebody else's house and is like, look, my people lived here, 300 years ago. So I'm claiming this house, this land is my land. You get up, you go over there. I'm running stuff. I'm killing you. I don't give a F about you, and I'm treating you like I don't give a F about you. It's all about me, and I don't care, y'all. You in my way. Is that like the Reader's Digest version? Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania in anti-fake news campaign. Oh, anti, so it's like against the fake news. Okay. after Michael B. Jordan salutes black women on Instagram, he gets called out for her dating habits again. So, I think the whole little conversation is really interesting because I guess if like in real life, if somebody were to compliment me and be like, "Oh, you're beautiful," I think I'd just be like, "Thank you." I don't think I'd be like, "Oh, thank you," but the person you're dating doesn't look anything like me, so you don't think I'm beautiful. You just saying that because you trying to like get some money out of my pocket. Even if I'm like at a restaurant or someplace where you know how people tend to be like flirty and friendly in certain contexts, I would just be like, "Oh, thank you." I probably wouldn't make any comments. But of course, social media is its own unique, animal. So some of these people who are making comments, I don't know if their comments are like for our edification as other, people in the Twitter's verse, or if that's like how they interact with people in real life. Because I feel like, I don't know. It was like interesting to me. I saw a video before Black Panther came out, and I don't know how accurate it was, but it was like basically all of the people who had roles in Black Panthers, male and female, but were dealing with, non-black people. And I was like, oh my gosh. Now I don't know how accurate that was. They could have pulled out images from whenever. And I don't know, like, if you had, like, because, like, both of the men that I've been married to who were married to me had dealt with white women in the past. So is that like once you deal with a white woman, I'll never talk to you? I don't know. So could he have evolved and like be at a different place? Like, I don't know about the dragging of people. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it contributes to unity, but is that someone who's in the community? Like if they're, diverting their resources and energy, because I feel like your intimate relationships are like, to me, some of your greatest resources, because that's how we heal each other, person to person. So I don't know, but it does seem kind of rude to me in a way, even though sometimes it's funny to watch just like through the internet and chuckle. Like in real life, I would feel bad if I was like in a room and somebody was getting dragged. I would, I don't know. Like I even saw when Professor Griff came on campus and it was a whole big brouhaha 80 years ago when it happened. And I think it was Professor Griff. I don't know who it was because there were 3 or 4 different people who spoke, but one person took a picture of the Pope and they ripped it, and then they might have burned it on fire, they might have stepped on it or whatever. And I just kind of felt like, I don't know, like I'm not like Catholic, but I just kind of feel like I didn't feel like, woo! I was just kind of like, oh my gosh. So I don't know. I don't know about so you have a separate account, Rottweiler. Right, that's the Rottweiler, not Rottweiler Morris. Is it under your same Google name? This is totally, I know I'm on a totally different subject, but is it under your same Google name, or do you have a different Google name? Wanted in Ohio, workers who can pass a drug test. So I think the main point of this article, the person is saying, look, I got plenty of work. And there's plenty of people out here who ain't never hammered a nail. But the problem that I have is that I got plenty of work. I could afford to hire way more people, but people can't pass the drug test. And so I was kind of wondering, is it a marijuana test? What type of drug tests are people having trouble passing? Because I know I have heard, like, around me, where people are like, I got this, this job is coming up, and, what do I do? And people are like, drink a whole bunch of water. And that's for weed, I think, I don't, so I don't know. And I don't know, is there any evidence that shows that weed impairs people's ability to do work? I don't know. Certainly my anecdotal, experience is that it seemed like people just be sillier, some people. But GOP congressman pissed he had to hear about auto industry discrimination against black customers. It's just not true. It's just not true, he said. It's just not true. Now, I wonder what he's basing that on. His assertion that it's not true that black people are discriminated against when it comes to auto loans. Is he just basing that on how he feel? Because I think there's evidence to the contrary. He like, I do not want to hear that skit about black people having it hard, because the people who have it the worst are me. Rich white men with property and power. We out here struggling on these streets. Humiliated Black woman strip searched by Macy's clerk because, quote, people like you have been stealing, end quote. Okay, so we just looking at the headline. I don't know nothing about the story. She's strip searched. Like, take off your clothes. I want to, see what you got on you. By a clerk. Because people like you have been stealing, the woman said. When I worked in retail, I was told not even to, if I thought somebody was stealing, the way that I was trained is you have to have like 5 points of evidence before you can accuse somebody of stealing, when the way I was trained, because you could get sued. Now, maybe the retail outlet I worked in was particularly sensitive to getting sued because maybe, maybe they had been sued or something. So they were like, you have to have seen them get the stuff. You have to have a picture of them getting the stuff. You have to have a signed statement of them saying they stole the stuff. You got to have 6 witnesses saying they saw them get the stuff. And then you have to have seen it happen 2 or 3 times, whatever. I don't remember what the 5 points were. But basically, the point is that you ain't out here accusing nobody of stealing. You're not doing that in our corporation. So even when you thought people were stealing, or even when you knew people were stealing, now I'm not really like all that like criminally like swift, like I'm not criminally minded. So other people would have to hit me to like, what's going on? They'd be like, look, this is what happened. These people over here did this, and then they did the switcheroo. Or when you see stacks of clothes move like this, it means this. And if you watch, you can see it. And I watch and I just couldn't seem to see it. Like I don't know if my eyes, my perception, somehow I just couldn't seem to perceive that. Just like when I know somebody is lying, sometimes it's really difficult for me to like get that somebody is lying. It's kind of like, I'm like, well, maybe they misunderstood, or maybe like somehow it's like, it just doesn't compute, like stealing, lying, all of that kind of stuff. I don't know. I have a weird relationship with it. So I wouldn't I wouldn't be the one to be like, they're stealing, because I probably, you probably really have to be like, I'm stealing. I got it right now. I'm putting it in my bag. I'm stealing right now, right? You see this? Here, come take a picture. And then I have to be looking at the picture like, I think they were stealing. But I'm just shocked that Macy's, which is a big corporation, has clerks. We were told to call, if you thought something was going on, you were supposed to call security. You're not supposed to interact with people. One of my managers had somebody, the person went through the beep, beep, beep thing, and the beep, beep, beep. And she said, oh, well, let me, check your bag, because your beep, beep, beep probably didn't come. Your sensor is probably still on. And the person cold cocked her, boom, and ran. So she was really sensitive to like not having us, like we don't get paid. None of us get paid enough to be out here fighting with the people in the store. So don't even confront anybody about it. But I'm just shocked that, the person let the person, search them, like that whole thing, like a clerk is doing that and strip searching. Yeah, that's crazy. But I also need to say that every time I go through one of those beep, beep, beep things, I've never stolen anything in my life. But every time I go into things, I think it's going to go off. And I feel like a level of anxiety that I'm going to get caught, even though I haven't stolen anything. So, that's not, that's a whole nother subject. Leave around 4. Okay. Oh, you know what? So what's new and good today? I'm going to like a dry salt treatment. Like you sit in a room with like dry salt in it for like 45 minutes. It's supposed to be good if you have respiratory issues for the most part, but it's just supposed to be a good thing. I don't really have respiratory issues. I don't even think I got a cold this year. I've been trying to figure out, did I get a cold this year? Y'all who were watching all winter, let me know. Was I sickly? I don't think I got a cold this year. Yes. Excuse me for un momento, por favor. Hey, RDB Fresh, what's up? How you doing? Rottweiler is gone. Okay. So that's what happened. The woman got strip searched. and I'm wondering if she felt a certain, because when the woman who was my manager said the person punched her, she said she knew she had stolen, and that was like her way of like, so I guess when you're innocent you're like, oh my gosh, and when you're guilty you like could be more brazen about it. So I guess the reason that the person let the person strip search her is she just felt like so embarrassed and so stressed by the whole experience that she didn't know how to be like, hell to the no, I am not, no, and maybe she didn't want to escalate things. Maybe she's like, I know I didn't, but I just feel like, yeah. It's coming off of the griot, humiliated black woman. Okay. T.I. posts bail after being arrested trying to enter his gated community. So I'm assuming, I don't really know. I've spent a little bit of time in Atlanta. I know that, there are probably some gated communities in Atlanta that are black and brown. I don't know. There's supposed to be a lot of wealthy people in Atlanta. I don't like on the Real Housewives of Atlanta when Croy's wife went to visit Candy a couple seasons ago, she said, "Oh, this is in the hood," and then Candy's like, "Okay, you never have to visit me again." But I don't know what type of community Candy lives in. I don't know if it's a gated community or not. I don't know. But the article, the headline at least, and this is the second or third one I've seen today, gives me the impression that it might be a white community that he lives in. You know, and it's sort of like, on one hand, I kind of feel like, well, that's what you get for living in a white community. But I feel like when you have certain wealth and when you have certain resources, where are you living? Where are people living? I know that in like in South Africa, for example, I think probably because of the way the society is set up, there are black townships. In the black townships, there are poor people and there are wealthy people, and they're all there together. And back in the day before there was integration, we were all in our community. The black community was mixed. Even in Hattiesburg, I could see that, where there were some houses that people had built that were like big and extravagant right next to or very close to very modest houses. And also one lady who my husband used to do work for, who's like an elder, she's like 70, 80, 90. She her house was like right across from the projects, and she served on the school board. She was like, but like literally the projects were like right across the street, but she had a store in the community. But I don't know. I kind of feel like, I guess the pressure on him is a reflection in a way of the pressure on all of us. Like we are under, it seems like the sieve, the pressure is just, whatever makes pressure is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And so it's almost like there's nothing that you can do that's right. Whatever you do, it seems like you subject to some bull. So it's nothing that we can do that's right. So it's important for us to start processing that it's not anything that we're doing that's wrong, because there's nothing we can do that's right. And so now what we gonna do? You know what I mean? So maybe this pressure is a blessing, an opportunity for us to really, just get a new level of clarity. Let us affirm that. So that's your boy T.I., the rapper, for those who don't know. Tiny's husband, T.I. He got Skip Tip. He go by Tip. I don't know his name. He kind of get on my nerves too. I don't know him personally. Burundi is one of the countries that we talked about since we started talking about countries on the continent of Africa. We don't really know that much, but we do know the name. It's familiar to us. Burundi's president, Nkurunziza, first a third term, now a 7-year mandate, now a 7-year mandate. I don't understand. The tenses are weird, but so I think basically what they're saying is that this person who's the president, he a lot of the constitutions, when we've talked about the constitutions of a lot of countries, I noticed a trend of 5-year terms. And so maybe in this country, they had a 5-year term. Like when you president, you elected for a 5-year term. And a lot of the countries also have a 2-term limit, or had when their constitutions were first created. And so now they're saying first the third term, which makes me think that he well, instead of having a 2-term limit, let's have a 3-term limit. Since I'm in office and everything, let's just go for 3. Let's just go for unlimited now that I'm in power. And now there's 7-year mandates. I don't know what that is. So anyway, there's some concern in Burundi that the person who is in power is trying to become a dictator instead of having, like fair and democratic elections like we do, here in America. Missouri man freed after judge slams homicide investigation. So this man was in jail. I think he went to jail in 2000. He was accused of murdering, I think, a woman who ran a bar or something like that. And he says that he was at a family event, even though he says that he did have he had a history of being involved with criminal activities. He was at a family event. 3 people confirmed that he was at the family event. There were 2 eyewitnesses who said that he was the person who killed the person. Hey, Astarte. I don't know why I thought it was Astarte. And I still didn't look up Ishtar. I meant to. But there was no physical evidence, as I understand it, linking him to the crime. And there were 2 eyewitnesses that put him there. There were 3 eyewitnesses that put him someplace else. No physical evidence, but he went to jail. And apparently one of the police officers, or maybe more than one, had heard that there was somebody. Hey, Royal, welcome on the chat. Had heard that there was someone who, and yeah, we do need to be prayers for Lisa Cabrera. Prayers for Lisa Cabrera and her family. So then there was at least one cop who had some evidence of someone else who said they committed the crime, but they did not pursue that because they had this guy. Now, he's been freed now, after the judge is saying, what a shoddy homicide investigation that was. There was no physical evidence. This is wrong. So, of course, my question is, okay, so the first thing is, my question when I see it is, he's free. He's been in jail for how long? So I went to the article to see how long. From what I can gather, is 2000. So that's like 15, 20 years. 15, 20 years of being locked up. Yes, he does. Of course he does. He's a daggone dictator. Anyway, so that's, yes, he does. Yes, he does. So that's 15, 20 years of being locked up. Just imagine. And we have it in our, we have a lot of things that we can imagine and draw on from our family historical DNA. So, I'm imagining being locked up for 15, 20 years. It's not a lifetime, but it is a lifetime in a way. It's a long, but time. That's a long time to be locked up for something that you didn't do. And we know, because we were dragged and locked up for being, I guess we did do the crime of being Black, or the crime, but I'm just saying, just locked up, and you're like, why am I being locked up? What did I do? What's wrong? Why is this happening? No, 0 can't count to 0. So locked up for 15, 20 years. And so of course, my question was, so they let him free, but do they compensate him? Like, how do you, I want to be compensated for my 15, 20 years of being locked up, having no freedom, having people dictate, where I go, when I go, being like locked up in, stressful, tense, violent, potentially situations, being cut off from my family and unity. I don't know what quality of food I'm being fed, being experimented on, because prisoners are prime subjects of medical experimentation, mental cruelty, rape. You don't know what types of things this person experienced. So is there any attempt to compensate them? Because my theory is you can't compensate me for that. You can't compensate me for stealing a minute of my life, let alone 15 years of my life. But is there any compensation for him? That's the next question that I have. And then what was really interesting to me is that when I saw his image, because I don't know how tall he is, but he appears to be very thick and strong. Like, he looks like somebody who looks like a big Black guy. I don't know how tall he is, but there's a difference between big and tall. He looks solid. And so I kind of feel like it was almost like, just by looking at him, some people decided that he was guilty, you know? Um, I don't know. So anyway, he's 49 years old. And I know a lot of the people that travel in these circles, that's like right around our age range. She a little bit older than some of us, a little bit younger than some of us. Um, like, could you imagine? Like, so he's 49 now. So when he was like around 20, like when you were 20, you just locked up until now. Now, the other thing that he said is that he said, I know, and I didn't really understand the context of this. He said, I know I'm being held to a higher standard, Robinson said about life going forward. I can only say it's just begun, most of his baby making years. Well, especially if he was a woman, but yeah, I mean, my stepfather been in jail for 50 years. Yeah, yeah. Um, And so, and then this was the other question that I always have. Like a lot of times when I read these stories, when people are like, well, I was wrongfully locked up for 15, 20, 30, 50 years, whatever. And now I'm free. I'm just happy to be free and I forgive everybody. That's how it sounds to me. And I just feel like I'm waiting for somebody to get out and be like, I'm mad as hell. This shit is fucked up. I am pissed off and I'm out here. I'm getting revenge. I don't know if they won't let you out if you think, I don't know. But everybody is just always so like, I'm being held to a higher standard. I don't know if it's something about the process of being locked up that creates a certain, spiritual maturity and peace that I just can't comprehend and can't understand. I have my little meditation practice, an hour in the morning, an hour at night. Usually it's not even an hour, I'm not getting an hour in a day, but that's the aspirational thing. But I'm like, I don't have that kind of peace. And that stuff hadn't happened to me. So I'm just really, that's the thing that also amazes me and confuses me. I don't understand to forgive our enemies. That's the plan. But I'm just like, I don't know how. It's like, don't nobody slip out who once they get out, they be like, yeah, I said what I had to say to get out. But now that I'm out, I'm mad as hell. Where are them people at? I want to see that footage. Some things are unforgivable. Or I just feel like but anyway, I don't know. I mean, I wish him well, and I'm really sorry that he had that experience. And I'm sorry for all of us, who are having that experience, who have ancestrally had that experience. It's some bull, and freedom is precious, and freedom is, not only our physical freedom, but our mental freedom, our emotional freedom, our spiritual freedom. It's really, really important. I think one of the themes that I saw today is like, just like if you were enslaved down south or enslaved wherever, and you taking your freedom, it's like every step you stepping into your freedom, you making that choice. Because sometimes we would be like, I'm getting out of here, forget it, I'm busting out. And then we would bust out, and then we'd be like, oh my God, I'm scared, I'm going back because I don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? So it's like, freedom is a choice. It's like we make that choice again and again and again. We make that choice every second of every day. We make that choice with our bodies. We make that choices with our hearts. We make that choice with our mind. And we have to, and it's precious and it's important and it's valuable. And we have to choose free. We have to choose it for each other, and we have to choose it for ourselves. And we have to keep choosing it, because it's a battle. Even when, we got to freedom, we made it up north, we's free. And then, you run into so-and-so who I recognize that winch, that's so-and-so, and they coming to get you. Or maybe they don't recognize you, but they just coming to get you because they can come and get you. Or the laws change, or some combination of those things where, it was cool for you to be here now. And now you're like, well, should we stay here? Should we go north? What should we do? And that's, I think a lot of people feel, in some ways, we're having big conversations, but it's not a new conversation in our community. Should we Black Star Line? Should we be going to Liberia? Should we be going to Haiti? Where's a good place for us to go for us to be free? Where's a good place for us to go, for us to be safe? Where's a good place for us to go so we could just live? Where that place at? Where's it at? And sometimes I feel like we just have to, I mean, I think there are some physical choices that we can make, but I feel like the most significant choices that we can make are mental, like in our mind and our spirit, like, it's some work that we do, and that we need to be doing, and that we need to be, it's some daily practices, some minute by minute, day by day practices that are choosing freedom again and again and again. Mugshot mania. Oh, Clifford T.I. Harris arrested after altercation with neighborhood security guard. Oh, so that was the other part of the story that I thought was interesting. Now, T.I. kind of get on my nerves, but one thing that I do appreciate, hey, Brother Yapo, is one thing that I do appreciate is, hey, August Dreams, peace, is that when he went to go into his neighborhood, the gated community where he lived, and he done bought property, and his money and his resources are there, and his children and his family, he got about 18 children, all light skinned. But where, he tried to go into his gated community, they giving him, hey, underrated darkness, they giving him grief, and he didn't just be like, okay, sir. So I don't know. I guess I like people or I like I feel like it's important to see images of fighters. It's important to see images of us fighting. So, that aspect of the story, I appreciate. He got into an argument with the security guard. Now, I don't know if it was productive or not productive, but I feel like it's some bullshit if he owned the property, and why are you So, that's the other part of the story that, I guess I'll give T.I., 3 hand claps for bucking up with his wild, crazy self. People are accusing a retailer of charging shoppers a fat tax on clothes above the size of 12. So I didn't know, they just say retailer, like it's just one retailer. So I thought that it was like a common practice to charge people more for extra large clothes. Now, what kind of confused me is that baby clothes are so expensive, because baby clothes don't hardly use no material. Now, I don't know if it's like more intricate to sew baby clothes or little bitty kitty clothes than it is. But, I just kind of feel like, it's bad business practice. Like, I feel like you should, like, a t-shirt is $20, and in your cost, it should accommodate whatever sizes you offer. I don't feel like you should be charging people more, but I don't know. I haven't really been in that type of business, so I don't really understand. I don't know, but I thought it was common. It didn't seem, the first Maroon War. So the Maroons are, I think, short for the Cimarroons, but we know of the Maroons in the context, or I know of the Maroons in the context of Jamaica. Jamaica was a place, my understanding, and this is the vibration that I feel when I've spent time in Jamaica and around Jamaicans. My first husband was Jamaican. So I have a little bit of experience with Jamaica. And my next story time is going to be about my trip to Jamaica. My only trip to Jamaica. But they would send people there to be broken. Like, you bring the people here, you stop at Bahia, Port-au-Prince, Savannah before our final destination, whatever. That's like from a monologue. Some play, I can't even remember. It was good. The Colored Museum. I was Miss Pepper. I was being typecast even then as perky and happy. In college. That's a long time ago. I've probably been perky all my life. So when I spent time in Jamaica and around Jamaica, so Jamaica, they would send people there to be broken. Like if you brought the people here and you like, you my slave now, you better tote this bell, spread your legs, do whatever I say. And the people who were like, most resistant, they're like, oh, this is like, I can go up to level 5 with resistance, but once they get up in this, above, we got to send them someplace else because they specialize in breaking people's spirits. And Jamaica was one of those places where, as I understand it, where they specialize in breaking. So you had some people who were very resistant, who were sent to Jamaica. So some of those people were broken, but the people who, if you didn't break them, they went out and that's why you see when them Jamaican people, women kiss their lips, it'd be like the best. Like when they suck, it'd be like the most attitude, the most just, you could tell that spirit is just rough. But the people who were not broken, a lot of them went out into the hills, into the mountains, and formed communities and fought and battled. Now, I guess I knew that there were wars and battles between the British and the Maroons. But I love this. It says the first Maroon War. So that headline makes me think that maybe there were more than one Maroon Wars. And I feel like as African people, as Black people, we should, like, every day, we should be celebrating some person who has resisted, some war of resistance, somebody who has affirmed their freedom, someone who is fighting for freedom. So it's like if there's 5 Maroon Wars, we should know the dates. It should be like, oh, what's today? Oh, the 16th, May 16th. That's the day of the first Maroon War, everybody. You know, we should be talking all day, every day. There should be at least one. That's a good idea. There should be at least one thing that we celebrate every single day that, celebrates and acknowledges the spirit of fighting for freedom, living for freedom, being about freedom, So the first Maroon War saw Britain attempt, this is coming off of Black Then, I think, Black Then. The first Maroon War saw Britain attempt to take control of Jamaica, which it had just gotten from Spain, a celebration of our heroes, right, and our spirit, because we some bad, shut your mouth. I'm not going to shut my mouth, but anyway. I guess I should know because my first husband was born in Spanish Town. But I'm looking at this, I'm like, in Spain? Duh, Spanish Town. The information age is showing us our history did not start with slavery. Yeah, but like if you go back and study our people have always known, that our history. Go back and look at study some people before the information age. It's a lot of people who were aware of who we were and shared that information with other people and were studying and, it hasn't been a secret. Not everyone studied. No, not everyone studied and not everyone studies now. But there have certainly been people who were aware. Not like there are a lot of people now who are like, I don't want to hear that mess. Just like the Republican, my mother made it mandatory. Just like the Republican is like, I don't want to hear about Black people anymore. It's a lot of Black people who they like, oh my God, you talking about Black? They don't want to hear that. To them, it's a mess. Which it had just taken from Spain in 1655. 1655. Do you know that they say that this country was founded in 1776? Right. They try to not only conceal it from us, but to twist it and distort it and show us certain things so that every single day, yes, and that's like part of that choice. That's that walk to freedom. That's that like mental freedom. We have to claim who we are. We have to celebrate who we are moment by moment, day by day, acknowledge who we are. And also, I think it's secondary, but we also have to be vigilant, to like see the bull for what it, and like, I'm not accepting that. So it's a lot of propaganda out here that's bull that we've been told, we've been taught. Those who won't wake up are going to be left behind. Yeah. So 1655. So this is 1755. So this is over 100 years before. And that's the thing, I guess here recently, like in the last, I guess 2 or 3 years, I don't know why, for some reason, I'm like, oh, everything started in America in 1776. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, because I think this is coming up on the 400th. Is this the 400th anniversary of like this year? I think marks when they say the first enslaved Africans got to this country, on the East Coast someplace. So there'll be all kinds of conversations about that. They've already sort of started, but we'll be hearing more and more of those. But I don't know why I thought so. This is like well before America was officially a country. 2019, so next year, because it's 2018, right? Yeah, okay. Prior to this, Spain brought Africans to the Caribbean for the purpose of slave labor. Those who managed to escape integrated with the native people. There were still others who escaped and went on to establish a number of maroon colonies. The nature of the first Maroon War, by 1665, the black to white population. It's like being told all your life that your father was a mass murderer, finding out he was actually a celebrated philanthropist. It would have changed a person's perception of their self. Exactly. Hey, love like the sun. Exactly. Exactly. And it's like, I notice, like, especially like on the chats, when I like sometimes like when I'm, which I, it's actually like a blessing sometimes to just read, because I think when you hear people talking, it's one way that you perceive it. But sometimes when I see the comments that we're making in chat rooms, it's like I can see our distress, I can see our pain, I can see our humiliation, I can see the misinformation. You start to see like the places where, where we're broken, where we're confused, where we're lost. It's like you can see it. And I don't think I've ever, it's like it's kind of a new experience for me. And sometimes it's kind of like, it's kind of depressing, but it's interesting, because just like when you work one-on-one with a person, with yourself or with another person, and you're working on healing misinformation that an individual has, sometimes an effective tool is to like, well, let's what are some of the things, and you write them down. What are some of the things that you believe about yourself? And you start writing them down. And then once you have them written down, you can start to like formulate responses that are actually truth-based as opposed to lie-based. And sometimes I try to do that in chat rooms. I'd be like, people be like, Black people can't never get along. And I'm like, Black people, we always get along. Or the other day, somebody was like, I can't stand Black women. And I was like, I love Black women. But it's interesting to me, just seeing it. Because when you're talking to people, it's like, blah, 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 you can't like quite put your finger on it. But it's like, I can see it. I'm like, aha, that's a lie. Aha, that ain't true. Aha, that's the propaganda. Bull, 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 bull. Yes. Mm-hmm. The black to white population in Jamaica tilted in favor of the Black people. The Crown continued to combat the Maroons in hopes of taking the island, but often failed in their efforts. The first Maroon War itself was actually for a very long period, almost 75 years. Look, this is something we were I was saying how I was like amazed. The Haitians fought for 10 years. Oh my gosh, that's so long. And then I Googled it, and they like the average war is 10 to 11 years. The Maroon War, the first Maroon War was 75 years. 75 years. Who in here is 75 years old? That's a long time. In the same way that I think of, as a student in college, by the time you get in, you just kind of starting to get, I'm 66, 75 years. By the time you get into college, the first year you're trying to get oriented, you're trying to stay in school. This next couple of years, you're trying to figure out what you're gonna do. Then by your last year, you're trying to get right so that you can graduate. That's kind of how life is too. In the beginning, you don't really know what's going on. You're trying to figure out who you are, what the world is, what you believe, what you value, what your mission is. And then, you kind of try to do something productive. You got to eat and drink and have a place to live and clothes to wear. And then you start thinking about death. Like graduation is like death, like, death is like graduation. Like, okay, so how do I want to leave the world when I make transition? Where do I want to be, on my, you start doing that work. So it's like you kind of have like a small window, because shoot, 100 years, by the time you got any sense, you like 55, 60. We've been at war for 400 years, at least. Because we were talking about it, it was something I saw that was talking about 1,000, 1,200. I think, I think the numbers are off. I think it's been longer than that, but I don't know. Because I heard somebody gave a lecture, and they were talking about in Senegal, they were talking about the Muslims in Senegal and the war with European. But anyway, I don't know. I don't have enough historical, but I just have a feeling that it's, but still, in the whole scope of human history, 400 years is really not even that long. 75 years is really not even that long. 10 years surely ain't nothing. in this country. Yeah. But I guess my people started before this country. So maybe that's how I'm processing it. I don't know. But, I feel like 400 years ain't nothing. 400 years ain't nothing. I can fight for 75 years and then I can fight for 75 years more. And I'm going to teach my children to fight for 75 years and 75 more and 75 times 75. As long as it takes. What? Turn down for what? Quit fighting for what? Why? We are in a war, but we are not at war. It's odd. Yep. They're at war with us and we have to defend ourselves. Yeah. Okay, so 75 years marked by small battles between the two forces. Also, during this time, the British colonial government had to deal with slave revolts that popped up. Those damn enslaved Africans popping up fighting for freedom. That's what they were saying. I was saying, yes, pop up, fight, revolt. A result of these slave revolts was that the Maroon population often grew as some would take the opportunity to escape. Since Jamaica had such a large population of Black people and more constantly being shipped in, there was little risk of running out of combatants. Speak for yourself. I do guerrilla warfare every chance I get. Yes. 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 Both of these kinds of conflicts threaten to undermine. Yeah. Both of these kinds of conflicts threaten to undermine the British power in the Caribbean and eventually run the superpower out of the Jamaica if something wasn't done. We've got to do something, they saying, because they just keep fighting. These daggone Negroes, they won't just bow down and let us just dominate them. Now, the story we get a lot of times is that we was just like, yes, massa. Black people are still shocked by the ways of the devils. Yep, I am. I wish I wasn't. I wish I could be like, but I'm shocked. Yeah. Around 1739, Britain finally struck an agreement to end the First Maroon War. They were given several towns to live without British intervention. As a trade-off, Britain wanted the Maroons to not give safe quarter to escapees and to help capture them. Now, how am I going to look not helping my brothers and sisters and my cousins and my aunties and my uncles and my nieces and my nephews and my babies? Let's see what the Maroons did. They also wanted the Maroons to assist in protecting Jamaica from outside threats. Yes. That's one of the books I really want to, We Will Shoot Back. I think he came from and deals with the Deacons of Defense. I'm kind of curious about that. An issue here was that the British dealt with Cujo, a leader of the Leeward Maroons. So I guess there were different Maroons, the Leeward Maroons. That sounds like a nautical term, like Leeward. I don't know, but it sounds nautical to me. Yeah, it's hard for for me to wrap my head around that. And also, I think it's hard for me. I think it's difficult for me to. I know I hear people refer to white folks as slave beasts and stuff, or cave beasts. Sorry, slave beast, cave beast. I'm really challenged by that. I don't know. I think I don't know. I'm like, no, I don't know. I'm just I'm open and receptive to it's cave beast, not cave beast, not slave beast. So Cujo was the leader of the Leeward Maroons, and it was believed that the Maroons were something like one nation as opposed to separate tribes working in tandem. Cujo wanted peace instead of more decades of fighting the British and pressured the other Maroon groups to get in line. Uh-oh, Cujo. I don't know. I think that it's like I know in my individual personal life, when someone is I know theoretically that people lie and steal and cheat, but I think when I'm dealing with someone and I'm like, are you telling the truth? I think it's hard. It's like even zero. I'm like, it's taking me a while to be like, well, he I guess I just think, oh, well, they came from caves. I guess I just think that, I don't know what I think. I don't know why. I'm like, well, they probably just misunderstood. I've misunderstood things, or, maybe, I don't know. Because that's like in the dorm when people put their name on stuff. Now that I was like ridiculous. Like, you didn't buy this food, so I don't need to put my name on it for you to know this ain't yours. So, I mean, if you taking it, it's because you just want my food and you taking it, not because I didn't have my name on it. But I don't know. Cujo wanted peace instead of more decades of fighting. This peace with the British would last for close to 50 years. And that's something too. It's like, yeah, we're going to form this treaty and this is our agreement. Like they just lie. The lies, the lies, the lies. Because is their word worth anything? Don't defend those devils. I'm just telling you how I feel honestly. I'm not true royal family. Am I putting you to sleep? I'm making you sick. All right. So anyway, that's the first Maroon War. I guess the second Maroon War was 50 years after that. But Jamaica is not in the Jamaican vibration, like the Capricorn vibration is not necessarily my favorite, but I love warriors. I love some hard ass fighting behind people. Oh, you're bed resting. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so I think this was like the story. I don't know if it's like the story of the day or the headline of the day. And I don't know if this was shocking to me. I don't know why, but it was. 13-year-old Houston boy escapes with no shoes, torn clothes after abduction by suspected white supremacists. His mama noticed that he didn't come home, so she was looking for him. You're bed resting. She was looking for him and trying to figure out what was going on. Somebody saw him running down the street and I guess got him and called the cops or whatever. The little boy was at the bus stop and some other little boys or little cave beasts or whatever, I don't know. He was like 13, they were 15, 16, 17, so older teens. I don't know how old. But they got the little boy, they forced him into a car with flames on it. They took him someplace. I think they were beating him. Oh, you feel good today. Oh, I'm glad you feel good today. Yeah, I haven't defended anybody. I don't think, yeah, I think so. And also, I think just because, I feel like you can have respectful relationships with, you know, or I can, I mean, I try to, but that's a whole nother conversation. So the boys were beating him and, ripping his clothes or whatever. And then they said that they were going to the room to get a gun to shoot him. And that's when he broke out of the house and just started running. And I think it was a house that he was in. He was kidnapped from a bus Monday, from the bus stop. His mother says she called the police. The baby's name is Xavion Parker. Um, what was interesting to me in this article is they said that Xavion was found, Parker was eventually found safe, but authorities said he likely suffered a very traumatic experience. And so I'm kind of like, safety is kind of like a weird term to me because like safe. It seems like he was found, but was he found safe if he had already experienced all of those things? The sixth grader told police that he was approached by five teenage boys shortly after he got off the school bus. He said the boys forced him into a, a four-door vehicle with flames painted on the side and drove him to a vacant cabin where they assaulted him. They were driven to the home by an unidentified white male. They stole his keys, phone, shoes, and jacket. And then they went to another room to load a gun. And that's when he ran. And the person had a distinctive tattoo on his arm that read, "I hate black people." And she's received threatening text messages from, I guess they have his phone, so they're sending her text messages. And she believes that her son was targeted because of his race. And I feel like, is that like a question? Is there like what, I mean, okay. Um, so anyway, it kind of like the story kind of it feels kind of like a throwback to me. Like I can imagine, like, in 1600s and 1400s and 1700s and the 1800s, we in Al Qiblan, we in our homes, we in our communities, we done heard about people being taken. Just like now, you hear about stuff, and then somebody snatch you up, they beat you, they take your clothes, they dragging you around, they threatening you with guns, they dragging you across the world. Like, but it's like, and even though I know individually people do all kinds of things, it's like these, and then these are like teenagers. So it's like this new generation, we keep talking about it, I know, and I'm trying to get it to like sink in. It's like hardcore wanting to go back to, just like we saw the other day, the child who was in the cotton field with his gun or whatever, talking, whatever. It's like that's like their dream. That's like their heyday, their like vision. That's like their hope for the future. Like, oh, if we could get back to the good old days. And so it's like they're practicing, different things to bring that back, so that they can have that experience, so that they can have that feeling, so that they can experience those emotions. It's like there's a feeding that comes for them for make America great again. It's like there's something energetically that happens for them when they have those types of experiences. And they want more of it. They miss it. They're hungry for it. And it's so it's just kind of like, I feel like in one way it's like one thing for somebody to like call you a nigga, and then it's a whole nother thing. Like I just feel like, dang, they kidnapped the, like, I don't know. This was like, I think, just the most shocking story that I saw today, and just very disturbing. I feel like, I feel like this concept, and I have to look back of it, of us being in war and or at war, like, here you are, you think you just going to school or coming back from school. The mama thinks she just sent her child to school. She not thinking, oh, I'm sending my son out into a war zone, and there's a potential that somebody might, kidnap him, snatch him up, beat him, threaten to shoot him, try to shoot him, she not thinking like that. She thinking, what could happen is he gonna go to school and then he gonna come back from school. She not thinking that could happen. It's like when we were enslaved and living on plantations, I think for the most part, because of the level of violence and things you saw and heard all the time, you probably had like a heightened awareness that anything could happen to you at any time. That's the threat that we live under 24/7. Right. We must become more aware. And so I think it's like, I guess this climate is increasing our awareness and also the consciousness of where we are and what type of circumstances we're in. I feel like on the surface things seem like normal. Like, today I'm going to not a mineral bath, but like a salt place, and I'm gonna sit, and I'm thinking that I'm gonna get some like physical healing, I guess. I mean, but anything could happen, but you just feel like, well, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna chill, I'm gonna you not you it's I feel like our consciousness, or I don't feel like, and even though you see, almost every day, even though we see almost every day, a story of somebody being, assaulted, somebody being killed, somebody being, at least one person every day. I think it's every day. Some days we see two or three, right? I think it's every day. So I don't know if like what threshold it gets to where your consciousness shifts. Do we have to like see 10 a day? Do we have to personally experience, like, I don't know. And then the whole, can we get alongness? I was thinking about it And for every story we hear, there are hundreds that we don't hear about. For every story we see, there is seen, unseen, known, unknown, named, unnamed. And I was thinking about this whole, like my dog today, like she, every once in a while, she like to like bite me and attack me, right? And so I'll like play with her, but she bites me. So I'll be like, stop. And she's biting me, right? And it hurts me. She never breaks the skin, but it does hurt. It's not really pleasant for me. It's funny because she's like attacking me, but it's not really pleasant. And then like today I was thinking about the whole, can we all just get along? It's like she bite me. And then I'm like, okay, come on, let's stop. But she the one who started it, and she the one that's biting me, and she's the one that's hurting me. I've never bitten her. Rodney King, can we all just get along? He's the one, they the one that was beating him. He wasn't beating them. But I understand, like at some point with Bella the dog, I'm just like, okay, please just stop biting me, because I don't want her to hurt me anymore. And I feed her. That's what I told her today. I'm like, ain't nobody ever told you, don't bite the hand that feeds you. I feed you. I walk you. I pet you. I'm cool to you. I ain't never kicked you, hit you. Why you biting me? But, you were talking, Brother Yapo, about the sister who was on your share today. The sister who was, I guess, made a new best friend at Starbucks. And like that whole, can we all just get, yeah, she's an animal. That's her nature, right? I mean, yeah. I'm being a little bit silly, but that whole idea of there's no getting along with them, but also this idea that we think, oh, like we're not the aggressors, we're not the attackers, we're not the ones that have an issue, we're not initiating the violence, we're not warring, right? Well, you're playing, well, I think if she was really attacking me, she probably would have broken my skin, but I don't know, she might be for real attacking me. Because when it's time to go out in the morning, when I start getting ready, that's when she like, come on, hurry up. And I'm like, this is the time for you to like chill, not like attack me. But like this black woman thinks, hey, Dee, this black woman thinks that, well, me and the white woman, we can get together and we can solve this. And I feel like we didn't create it and we can't solve it. That's, yeah. But this whole, can we all just get along stuff, yeah. So I don't know, the baby. I said that Xavion. So, just prayers out to Xavion and to all of us, for increasing consciousness and awareness and, guidance from the ancestors. History says no. Guidance from the ancestors in terms of like, can't we all just get away? And get away to where? And then I think this issue of energy is really significant, because I do think that it's sort of like, just like the person who, like when I withdraw, like my attention has value. When I withdraw my attention from you, you lose something. When I withdraw my energy from you, you lose something. As long as we as Black people are focusing on feeding, putting our, like saying their name, every time you say, devote energy to them in our minds, our areas, our communities, into our minds, our areas, our communities. Yes, because every time it's like we're feeding, and that it's a I don't know, people use that metaphor of like vampires, and I think that there's something to it. And I think also we're like, the more we do withdraw, the more that they fight, like, in the battered woman situation, they say the main time for a woman who has been battered is when she leaves the situation, and that's because it's like a withdrawal of like, we're not engaging in this together anymore. I'm moving on. And so you mad and you got this energy and you come into, and my auntie, y'all know, my auntie who was killed by, her ex-husband, the father of her children, that's been my theory. I don't know, because I was 2 when she made her transition. But I think that, it was a battered a situation of battery, and that, she was moving on. And he was like, oh, hell no, you've got to go. You ain't moving on. And so I think that keep doing everything TV opposite, the opposite of TV. So, I think that as we, I agree, I don't, what was your share call today? Um, Can't we all? No, vampires are bloodsuckers. Yeah, and not the blood, but I'm talking about the energy. Like, even when we're like, I hate white people, and white people ain't shit, and white people are cave beasts, and to me, that's still feeding them energy. That's kind of the same thing as, I love white people. White people are the greatest. I wish my skin was whiter. I wish my hair was longer and straighter. I wish that, I was married. Loss of control makes us, so I feel like any, withdrawal of attention is like YouTube. It's like it's like a loss. They feed the energy, I think, feeds them. So I think that yeah. I think, I'm sort of excited about this practice of just not acknowledging. That's what I want to do. I want to start, like, you don't exist. And because you don't exist, you're not real. You're not God. The only thing that's real is God. So if you're not God, I don't have any words for you. I'm just here for God. I'm here for good. That is what I want to do. And it's like, it's a discipline. It's a practice. It's like, I feel like I have to try to figure out, it's a discipline. Oh, I was trying to hit you and I hit me. It's like, I realized that's why I started meditating again. This conversation about separation and mental separation, your suggestion is sort of like, I got to get my mind, stronger. I have to, it's not a, you need to pay attention to what people are saying to you. Is that right, Kendrick? Okay. Let me see if I can find. Yes. All right. I'm going to listen to it. Know who you're dealing with. Yeah. And I feel like it's a process. That's Brother Yapo Yapo's video. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. We have to resist the urge to engage them. They will constantly come at us. Yeah. And I mean, I feel like that's just, yeah. I mean, I certainly, I feel like I can do, because I've certainly done it on a personal level. That doesn't seem to be a challenge for me. I just have to like wrap my mind around it and get my practice and like pay attention to my language. And, I done came out of my thing. Thank you for the likes. So yeah. Check out people's pages as we have a pause. People who are content creators, visit each other's pages, watch some videos. It's free to subscribe. It's free to like all of that stuff. I shop online, even grocery shop. Really? Now, see, I have a thing, maybe because I had a small business and I know that, I try to shop local and I try to shop black. I try to shop black and local, and then black and local, because usually black places are local. But I haven't gotten into a good internet, probably because I'm like anti-technology or something. Dang. I have no idea. Let me come out of this and go back in. I don't know where I am. Where am I? Yeah. And then it's like sometimes on like, especially like watching the like visually seeing, how many times we're talking about white people. I mean, that has definitely been a blessing to me, of this YouTube live community. It's sort of like watching that when we black folks get together, and how it's amazing to me. And it's like now there is some work to do right there. That's how it looks to me. Like, it's just like, if you could Touch us and they gonna get touched. Okay. Oh, 6 signs your friendship is toxic, even if it doesn't feel like it. And I thought that this was interesting, just in terms of, us as people and our personal development. But also, I think that the way that we perceive things as a community, when we're thinking about allies and like, oh, some of my best friends are white, or, whatever. I just thought it was like a really interesting little thing. Your friendship is one sided. That's one way that you can know your relationship is toxic. Um, Touched by an angel. um, it feels like your friendship only goes one way and it's not a win-win. The angel of death. If you're always there for that person and they're never there for you, that's probably a one-sided relationship. So I think that's good to think about personally, community-wise, just who we think of as friends. Oh, are you retracting it because you're a moderator and you don't want my page to get shut down? Now, these people are so sophisticated, I don't want to get you astray. You have to hide who you truly are. It's important to make sure that your friends care about you for who you truly are. Any relationship or friendship should enable you to be your best self at all times. Y'all, I saw a picture of Meghan Markle yesterday, like as a baby, a child. She's probably about 5 or 6, and her hair was curly as hell. And I was like, oh my gosh, she black. Now all this time to me, I've been like, she white. I don't see the black. I don't. And I saw that picture and now it's like I can't unsee it. But anyway, it's kind of like, so she's just straightening her. I wonder if she fit. Yeah, I mean, and I'm not speaking of her specifically, as a specific person, but I'm just speaking about that idea, like where you don't feel free to be who you are. If I got curly hair, if I got nappy hair, and I can't be who I am, then what the hell am I being? Who am I being? You know what I mean? Like if I feel like I remember I used to feel like that. Like I remember the first time that I cut my hair off and it was like I'm touching the back of my head because, ooh, it feels so good. I'm touching the back of my head because that's like the kitchen. That was like the part that was supposed to be like, oh, it's the most awful, it's terrible. And I remember the first time that my best friend cut off my hair in college. Now I had been growing it, like letting the perm grow off for a long time. So I had a whole bunch of new growth, and then I would twist. Yeah, you're not allowed to see anybody in your sphere. Right. We only want people in our sphere who mean us good, who love us, who support us, who, accept us unconditionally, starting with ourselves and our God. Are we loving, supporting, and accepting ourselves unconditionally? Are we wishing ourselves good? But anyway, when she first cut my hair off, it was like I could just feel like the back of my neck. Like the first time I shaved my head, I could feel movement on my head, like air. Like I don't know how to explain it, but it was like a spiritual expression. Um, so but this sense of being free to be who you are, you know, good, bad, or indifferent. And I think sometimes, like I noticed, like, in my goddess community, for example, there were certain conversations where some of the goddesses would say, well, I'm not a goddess because I smoke and I have to be perfect to be a goddess or whatever. And I don't know if I necessarily believe that. And sometimes I feel like in our communities, we're like, we talk all of this like, yeah, I would, I'm this and I'm that. And if a white person did this, I'd beat them up and I never do this. And it's especially easy when we're online to talk a bunch of stuff. But I even notice like in my like local communities, people talk a bunch of stuff, but then how we're living can be very different. And when we started the conversation, we were talking about unity, umoja. That's our principle for today. But I was exploring this idea of also unifying with yourself, being and having integrity, integrating yourself with yourself, integrating your beliefs, with your practices. What you believe, and it's not an easy thing. I mean, it's easy to talk a good game. It's easy to talk for some of us, but walking the walk is the challenge. I saw something about her soulmate. I don't know if it's her soulmate. would drown you literally with her love. Yimaya. Yay. Oshun. Dang, I missed that. Okay. So that's why I have no white friends. I cannot be who I am around them. I don't want to deal with a person who has a fragile ego. I have to dance around. And I think us too. Like, I think, yeah, I mean, I think, we have to be safe. Because sometimes, like, I listened to Sister Ajali was sharing yesterday, and I really appreciated it because the share, I can't remember what she was talking about, but part of, or what the subject matter was, but part of the conversation was about, basically accepting like our family. Like, we all get together. It's like you family, that's Cousin Joe. He crazy. Sister Ajali, radical home sister. That's so-and-so, he crazy, or he like this, but that's just how he is. And that's her, Mary, she like this. And you just love and accept the people. That's your family. I'm gonna look at my history and tell you what the name of the video was. I don't know if it's erotic or not, but hold on a second. I had to leave a friend of 30 years alone because I realized she was a narcissist. Now, that's like a word people have been using a lot here recently. It seemed like, I guess, probably since around the presidential campaign, that term has come up a lot. I didn't really, Okay, so you can't be who you are. You have to hide and pretend. And I was dating somebody who was like, I don't smoke. And then when they were always dogging out people who smoke like weed, and I'm like, I don't really have an issue. I just don't smoke. I don't drink, but I don't, I don't. But and then come find out the person smoked. So here you are, not being just be who you are. And if you grown, if I can't accept it, then move on to somebody who can. You ain't got to pretend. Be who you are. And you're going to find the people who love you and adore you and are for you. So you don't be who you are. Okay, so then the third one. You make continued excuses for their poor behavior. Oh, he smacked me upside my head, but he didn't mean it. He just had a stressful day. Or she embarrassed me in front of everybody, but that was because, my skirt wasn't cute. I don't know what these, Oh, really? Well, maybe she's talking to herself, because sometimes I think we have to nurture and love ourselves. And, and then also I think sometimes when I look at older people, Dee Dee, I try to be quiet. And just absorb what message God has for me from what they're saying. Because sometimes what I'm noticing is that some people have a hard line at a place where I don't have a hard line. But I'm wondering, like, do they have that hard line from experience, or is that a hard, I don't know. And I don't, I'm not like an all day, everyday listener. I listen occasionally. So I don't have any strong opinions. What y'all talking about now? I love myself everything day. I love myself every day. I love myself in every way. Every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. Mwah. You are the greatest. Your friend has missed a major event in your life. It's always some excuse. Yeah, and then also I just try to take, with everybody, take what I can use and let the thank you. Take what you can use and like let the rest go and bless it. And, sometimes it's like 5, 10, 20 years later, you'd be like, oh. And sometimes you'd be like, no. But that's one thing that I have seen in my life, especially this year. I've had a lot of like repeating, like people who have been out of my life for years are coming back. And what's interesting is the way that they're coming back, which is surprising me, is they're coming back with a lot of like compliments and kindness. And not that we broke on bad terms, but it's just sort of like an interesting experience and perspective, because it's like I figured I'd never see them or talk to them again. So it's a nice little blessing. Okay, so there is no mutual respect. Mutual respect is vital for friendships. My friend said I was a narcissist. That was probably a good joke. And there's all kinds of stuff I can't. I'm gonna have to read. I'm gonna have to look later. Look, it's already Mercury retrograde. Oh, Mercury retrograde brought them back. Maybe. But I mean, Mercury goes retrograde 3-5 times a year, so they ain't been back last year, the year before, the year before that. Your friend takes you for granted. See, that's how people, when they talk politics, they talk about the Democratic Party. But I feel like in general, we have to be very selective in who we give our energy to, because some people don't value it or appreciate it. They're never there when you need them. This time it was in Gemini. Oh, so they come back with the words, with the talking. Well, it was too. Nothing is worse than being in a friendship that is not serving you or is making you feel alone. What kind of friendship? They're starting to drain you. Now, this seems like, maybe this is like, it seems very basic to me. I feel like if a friendship is like, it's adding value. If it's not adding value, then it's a relationship that's not serving you. You need to let it go. I'm not saying that every single thing, Ross and Daylay, I'm not saying that but I mean, in general, your relationship should be adding value. They should not be draining you. Hanging out with your friends shouldn't make you exhausted. So anyway, that was the 6 signs that you're in a toxic friendship. But I think it's interesting to think about. And it was in the fire signs. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me see what this. And then also, Dee Dee, I think it's important to, when sometimes people move and grow or try something else out, and it's important to like really like big up if it's something that, like, yes, I love that family, we are family type thing, history. What have I been watching on the YouTube? Is this a mess and confusion? Oh, so Yanni versus Laurel. Have y'all heard that? No sex marriage. I put a spell on you. Y'all look at this child. I don't know how she got on my timeline. First of all, this is a beautiful song. Dang, it's an ad coming. I don't want to hear no daggone ad. But first of all, it's a beautiful song. When in my dream, when I become, a famous like singer, this is one of the songs I'm gonna sing, because y'all know I'm witchy like that. I don't know if I could play this music. Dang, y'all can't see her imagery. Like, look at her lips. She's like a beautiful black woman. I don't know who she is. Iza. I don't know how she came across my. Ooh, look at her. Yes. Okay, I don't want to get. I think you could play like 2 seconds. I probably went over. Oh, Ginga. I don't know. That's how I came to her. See, this Tariq Nasheed comes for Cynthia G. The real Aaron Collins was posting about that. I think I probably watched like 2 minutes of it. I can't really watch these. I guess if I get into it, I get into like the fights and the drama, but I'm not really into the fights and the drama. And it's like, I don't even want to, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to. Funky Dineva, stay in your lane. Strange Black Media. That was an interesting piece because I wasn't familiar with. Dang, it's been a while. I don't know where she is. It might have been jealousy. I can't even remember now. To me, I feel like if they had dealt with the issue, like I feel like why, like, okay, so you get 500 million to abuse victims, and somebody was like, oh, that's a big amount of money that each of the people get, and I kind of feel like if somebody violates you, does money make you whole? Can you stick money in your vagina and heal it? Because I don't think so. I just kind of, I mean, you can go to therapy, but I just feel like I'm not here for the apologies. I mean, I'm not turning down money, but I'm not turning down money, but I just kind of feel like I don't like the system. I don't like the system of, I guess it's like there's a value system, like there's an expression where we say it's better to seek forgiveness than to get permission. And that's what I think that this is. I think it's like, I'm not going to get permission. I'm just going to violate you. I'm going to do whatever the F I want to do. And then I'm going to be like, I'm sorry. Even though I know that this is a point, there are some points where when we're proper and we're correct, we need to stop and pause and handle things in a proper and correct way. And if we aren't doing that, we need to begin to seek to move in that direction so that no, we're not having to apologize all over the place if somebody catch us. Just do stuff right on the front end. Try to do stuff right on the front end. Better to say I'm sorry than to ask permission. So that's what I feel like all of this settlement stuff is, because in this particular case, it was this some of that, a lot of that stuff could have been ameliorated before. Like some of those people could have not had the experience that's going to mess them up. To them, money is God. Take it from them. Yeah. And money is not God. I'm not saying poverty is wonderful. That's not what I'm saying. I like money. I like nice things. Some nice things, the things that I like that are nice. It does not heal the mind or the soul. To them, it is God, So anyway, that stuff get on my nerves. That stuff, yeah, I hate those stories, Alexa skills can talk to you using different voices. Money is God to the beast. So your girl is out here. I guess she can change up her voice. Iapo. ABC chief defends not running Blackish kneeling episode and supports Roseanne return. Did I realize that? I think I probably did. We talked about the whole Roseanne Blackish thing. But they not, if they run in Blackish, it's because it's benefiting them somehow. It's not a benefit. Their agenda is not our agenda. And sometimes there are points where, you can travel together, but, you can't get it twisted. Don't think that that's your friend. I'm sure if we looked at the 6 signs of a toxic relationship, ABC and Blackish, there might be some signs there. And then, it's sort of like, just like if somebody is like your friend, like, oh, we're cool. This is my good white friend. And then they best friend is like, I hate Black people. Then you might want to re-examine whether this is your good friend. You know what I mean? Like, not one bit. It's always dollars for them. First, last, and always. What do y'all say? B1? It's D1 for them, huh? Oh, but anyway, and what about us? What about them Black people? Oh boy. Richmond police under fire for killing unarmed Black teacher on highway. So this person, when I read it, let me see if my own people can sell us into slavery over material. That's propaganda. Okay, so this story, when I read it, I'm like, now wasn't there a story not too long ago about this person was a teacher? Is it killing? So he's made his transition, rest in peace. He was on the highway naked. So it seems like, I don't know. But didn't we hear a story within the last month or so of somebody else being out here naked, like just naked? We are royalty. We are royalty. Yes, we are. So the Richmond police killed him. They said he was attacking. Yeah. So, this whole, I hear sometimes kind of like on the periphery, people talking about like people being programmed in Texas, I believe, people being programmed and the brother was naked. Like, so when I start seeing a pattern, I'm like, is this some kind of programming that they both experienced? There was that movie with, I think it was Denzel Washington, The Manchurian Candidate. So it was like they were using the same language. They were doing the same things. There's another story of a guy getting naked on a flight. Right. So, I don't know. Like, what is it? Is is it Fukushima? I still gotta like stay. I don't know nothing about. They were naked. That's that wet that makes them get naked. Yeah. Um, so it's like, are people like, what's going on? Like, is it like just a whole bunch of people are having mental breakdowns, and that's like a common sign of a mental breakdown that you get naked? I don't really know. I saw the I can't remember who, I saw that video of the person who got naked on the flight and they were masturbating and carrying on, or I saw some video or story about it. Um, Yeah, but it's disturbing. I guess the video has come out, so now the police are saying, just because or Flocka, just because Flocka, Waka Flocka. I'm missing it. I think I have to look back on it. But just because somebody is naked doesn't mean they're a threat. They're not a threat. So they felt threatened. Of course, they fear for their life. And I guess that's why we know the routine. We could just play the tape and it's the same old stuff. But Flocka and wet are drugs. Okay. Yeah, it's something. It's I don't know. But rest in peace to that person and his family and the community. And if it is some sort of drug or some sort of programming, may we be free from that. Naked at Harvard University. That's probably the story that I'm thinking about. Right, that's right. Because he was at right. That's right. Right, and that was like not that long ago. That was the young man at Harvard, because the black Harvard law students were advocating on that child's behalf. Richmond police, okay. Exclusive. Quad Webb Lunsford of Married Medicine files for divorce. Court documents. So on the TV show, she said that student loan money at work. On the TV show, she do the daily TV show. She said that she been taking Red Bull and she gonna be glad when it's over. So I don't know if that was an allusion to the divorce or not, but you hate to see. I hate to see her and her husband on the TV. Was not pleasant to watch at all. The tension and the animosity and like it was not pleasant to watch at all. I did not enjoy it. I don't wish for anybody to get divorced, but I don't know. It was stressful watching them interact. I was not here for it. Um, yeah, I feel for them both. Um, well, I just hope that they go on and they can be happy, because it was just how I like to see people happy, and I don't know, it was just awful. Thank you for the flower. Welcome. You're right on time. Um, Man framed by police for murder and judge get emotional as he's exonerated after 17 years in prison. I think this is a story that I was talking about earlier, where he was convicted in 2000. So they're emotional and they're happy. I guess about him getting free, but I'm just, oh my gosh, 17. 17. You feel like whenever you see 17, you feel like your father is talking to you. Tax charges force Baltimore's police commissioner to resign after 116 days on the job. Um, so he was a black guy. I was kind of curious about that. They have a lot of turnover in that department. And there was something else that kind of caught my attention, but it's 3:38. I'm supposed to be leaving at 4. These were the 50 most violent cities in the world in 2017. When I first saw the headline, I'm like, I wonder if they were what were the 50 most violent cities for black people, because I'm sure that it's a whole different scale, I would imagine. And then the other thing is I wonder what were the 50 most peaceful cities in the world. Pink had the perfect response to a Twitter troll who said she looks so old. She said it's a blessing to get old. I don't know why people why be mean? Like, just if you don't have anything nice to say, just shut up. Like, For what? Like, why? Why are you like taking your time and your energy for what? Target quietly removes a T-shirt from his website after being accused of stealing the art of a gay Mexican artist. So he look up, he like, that's my artwork. This how you treat the gay Mexicans? Okay, keyboard warriors. What's the war? Keyboard asshole weaklings or whatever. But I just thought it was interesting that they just quietly removed it. They didn't apologize. They didn't say this is how the mistake happened. Maybe they did that privately, but publicly they were just selling the person's work. Thievery. 22 of the funniest tweets about the great Laurel or Yanni debate on 2018. If you haven't seen it, have y'all heard it? Do you hear Laurel or do you hear Yanni? Or do you hear Yami? Does anybody out there know what I'm talking about? Just hit Y if you hear Yami or L Laurel. You're crazy. It's a distraction. Okay, don't hit anything. Just stay focused, Black people. Stay focused. A retired Navy SEAL commander says most people misunderstand the connection between discipline and leadership. That's a whole conversation. And I really want to have that because I think, just to think about, discipline versus leadership, and also not just discipline as in, I'm getting that behind and discipline you, but discipline as in I'm a get in my behind and be disciplined. I'm going to have some practices that are in service to me, my family, my community. What are our disciplines? That type of discipline, our daily practices, our weekly practices, our monthly practices, our quarterly practices, our yearly practices, our decadely practices, our century practices. Court sides with George Zimmerman, denies restraining order for man he threatened to feed to a gator. After Michael B. Jordan salutes Black women on Instagram, he gets called out for dating habits again. Russia World Cup, Argentina flirting Manuel Pan. So, the people they done gave the people a manual about how to get Russian girls. And first of all, we're offended by girls. I am. Don't, but it's like it just seemed like something from like the 1940s for like 14-year-old boys, and they're giving this to like grown men in 2018. It was very weird, very odd. And people started taking pictures of it and putting it on Twitter, and then they took everybody's book away and they ripped out the pages that people were mocking, and then they gave them back the book. I don't know who wrote it in there. Like, who, like, was it like some 120-year-old man who wrote it? It's been a year since one of Mexico's most renowned journalists was gunned down, and the unsolved case points to a sinister shift in the in the drug war. Fox News settles a slew of discrimination lawsuits for around $10 million. Again, the same thing we were talking about with Larry Nassar in Michigan State or the university. They know they out here doing F stuff, F skit. White House dumps cyber czar advisory position. So I guess the cyber czar is the one who's like, look, we not going to have no hackation under my, I'm here to stop the hackation. I'm here to stop, I'm here to make sure that we're secure on the cyber level. Zero is like, oh, we don't need that. Nobody's in that job. Good. That's a wrap. And we know why. Kansas City student sues district for punishing him while they protected white classmate that physically and sexually assaulted him. This is coming off of Atlanta Black Star. The little boy said the little boy touched his butt. He told the teacher, the little boy touched my butt. The teacher said, you move over there, little boy whose butt was touched. Victim, you move. She didn't address the aggressor. Then the next thing you know, the boy done touched his penis. So at that point, I think he touched his penis and something else. At that point, the little boy fought him, or, and then now the little black boy is in trouble. But I feel like I didn't get a chance to really go into that story, but that was like, I was kind of like, case him, he tried to do the right thing and they ain't do nothing for him. Again. New York Times, FBI and DOJ, Department of Justice, are looking into Cambridge Analytica. Psychologists who treated veterans with PTSD are charged with raping female service members while they were in therapy. So you jacked up, you going to get help, and the person who's supposed to be helping you is raping you. George Washington Carver, the black man with over 100 uses for peanuts. Yay! 25 claps for George Washington Carver. That's probably saying we gotta go, hurry up. India flyover collapse kills at least 18 in Varanasi. Florida teacher under fire for distasteful rant. Oh, hey, Odetta. Against Haitian student. Let me show you what it's like in America. That's coming off of Atlanta Black Star today. White woman refuses to obey cops who scold her for calling 911 on black real estate investor. Hurry up, get out. Illinois governor seeks to reinstate death penalty for mass murderers and cop killers. Venezuela crisis. Cereal maker Kellogg ends operations. But Venezuela say we're going to take over the plant and we're going to have it for the people. We don't care if this corporation leaves. Fabulous receives backlash after posting pictures with Emily B. You need to be showing y'all in therapy. That's what the people said, which they seem like they could use some assistance. Michael B. Jordan posts video praising black women, gets called out for dating preferences. Instead, Colombia's ex-fighters taught skills for peace. Would you pay your ex a breakup fee? Oh, this was a really interesting article I wanted to talk about. It's coming off of the BBC. It's sort of like divorce settlements, but, just from dating. And they paying the people $300,000. Poor People's Campaign launches 6 weeks of protest around the U.S. Singer-songwriter Priscilla Renee on confronting racism in country music. NCIS studio responds to Pauly Perret's tweets about multiple physical assaults on. Hold on a second. Maybe it depends. I had to put my battery thing on. I've been talking up a goddamn storm. Yeah, it was an interesting article. I thought it was really interesting because it was men and women paying. It was interesting. The White House sweeps the West Wing for banned personal cell phones. So we must be back where we started yesterday. That's all I got. I'm past time. I'm overdue. So, what are you looking forward to? I got 15 minutes to get ready. Well, now that I've thought about it, nope. You said nope before you thought about it. Michael B. Jordan and Winston Duke pull that praising black women, but dating other women. Well, they got to date the pretty women. They can't be out here with no ugly old scallywags. Today is the best day ever. And you are the greatest. It is on purpose. It's intentional that we're here together. The breakup fee is a fascinating concept. It is. The story is coming off the BBC. I wish I had time to talk about it. You are blessed and you are a blessing. I was just joking when I was saying they got to date pretty women. I was being facetious. And hope is a conduit for miracles. So that's our card for today. Today is the best day ever. The best day ever. And you are the greatest. The greatest. So be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous. You. Right. Until next time. Peace. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Blessings. Blessings. Go out and shine, fabulites. Thank you for the flowers. Oh my gosh. Peace, family. It's like hanging up the phone when somebody is talking. Okay. Gotta go. Bye.